Hey, everybody. I'm playing a game while also recording audio. This is gonna be like a just long-winded. It's got nothing to do with any like games or whatever. Every now and then, if you've actually kept up a little bit or even just checked out my channel like in the slightest, I have I'll make some video or something where I go around just complaining essentially, and that's exactly what this video is gonna be. I mean, it can be venting, it can be complaining, it can be just whatever. Just a way to kind of keep myself talking and having like my voice just out, letting my thoughts kind of just drone off while playing a game because I'm helping somebody level up in Dungeon Fighter right now, and it is an experience. Let me tell you something. When I was playing Dungeon Fighter uh, by myself without like an event character, I'd probably get to like level 70 in like a long time, right? I didn't really understand the whole idea of enhancing gear and socketing gems and whatnot like you could in Grand Chase. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. So, because of that, I was going through like a lot with my character just because I didn't know what to do, right? And now I've got a pretty good like understanding of what it is that I can do. It also seems like my mic is not being picked up. My mic was being picked up. Like I said, I'm playing a game, so I have like two different tabs open, and the program's recording, but I wasn't really able to see it. What was I talking about? So yeah, I didn't understand the whole leveling system and enchanting things and making things stronger. I really just didn't get it down as a whole. But in time, um, it all started clicking with me. Of course, naturally, I don't play Dungeon Fighter as much as I used to. Now I use it to like help people level up. Sometimes I'll get on and level a character that I just haven't touched in a while. It just depends on the situation and my overall mood. And usually, if I have somebody to play, I'll most likely play it much longer and really like turn my brain off and just run through the game and play it. So if you play Dungeon Fighter and you need help or you want somebody to play with you or whatever the case may be, I mean, here I am. I don't have like my full character list up on screen, and I'm probably not going to put it up on screen. But the characters that I usually use to help people like burn through whatever levels are usually my like highest characters, the ones that are maxed out with fairly okay gear. That way we can one shot anything that's like under 50 and anything that's 50 and up. I mean, I don't really know because we've only fought just a few of them overall. So me personally, I don't know, but that's not entirely what I was gonna make all of this about. I was talking to somebody the other day. I went to go talk to one of my older friends that I just haven't talked to in a really, really long time. And I was catching up with them because, I mean, stuff has just been happening overall in real life. I mean, COVID's kind of down in the sense of it's not as heavy and as hectic as it was before. There's not as many like lockdowns or these mandatory masks or crazy vaccines or whatnot. I mean, not saying that it's completely over because I know it's still going on, but it's not as heavy and as hectic as it was back then. All right, so that's cool, but that doesn't mean that like the world is just okay and fine. Right now, there's like some wars and stuff going on. Well, fights that are, from what I've been hearing, have definitely been turning into wars. I chose not to get super like briefed on the whole situation because politics is kind of like my no zone, right? Usually, when it comes to politics, I have nothing but like bad experiences. One of my breakups from one of my like serious relationships were somewhat centered around politics. They felt one way about one thing, I felt one way about another thing, and overall I didn't really know exactly what was going on anyway. I just kind of had an understanding of like what my family was taking it in compared to how their family was taking it in, which It's kind of goofy considering that like we were both at that point not even old enough to. I mean, I guess we could have just turned old enough to vote, but it's not like we were diehard like, oh, we got to get our votes in today. Like no, right? And ever since then, I was just like, forget it. I'm not gonna let it bother me. I'm not gonna let it eat at me. It's whatever. Uh, I'm just done, with politics as a whole. And then like some years pass, I start going to a university, and one of the classes I have to take is politic based, which is just hilarious because my professor there, I would like shoot ideas and conspiracies at him because that's what he actually wanted us to do, and I really have him thinking, and he was like, "Oh, you hear that, guys? You hear that? He's one of the students that's trying to piss me off." He's like, "See, but that's what I like. I want to get pissed off. I want to have debates." And it was just the funniest thing. It was actually one of like a really like enjoyable class. But yeah, the point is the world is going on, stuff's happening in the world as well. So I mean, nothing's just silent and chill and calm and steady, whatever the case may be. We're still very much so going through our own challenges and phases. And I'm not necessarily having to take part in any war or not yet or hopefully never. You never know, but I am, however, dealing with the stuff that I usually deal with, and because of that, I usually make a YouTube video to tell anybody who's willing to listen. My original thought that it would be for like my future child, assuming that I have kids, and if not that person, then I could give it to like somebody else who has kids and their kid wants to hear my take on whatever. Which, by the way, my take is not a great take. I am not somebody with just like reasonable whatevers. Sometimes I teach people who are younger than me, older than me, my age. Sometimes I have words of the wise to give to people, and it actually does filter through, trickle into their head, and really help them out. Other times, stuff that I say just overall makes people go, "What? Why?" Like you're wrong, right? And I mean, it's whatever, right? We're all humans. We all have our own takes on any and everything. So we all feel however we feel about whatever it is that we're feeling whatever about. So it's not something that's like super affecting me in some way, But then again, it's not like I'm going out of my way to have people tell me that I'm wrong or like try to prove me wrong or whatever the case may be either. So, with that being said, I don't want you to, like hear whatever I have to say and like just automatically think, ugh, that I'm, trying to push this or push that or claim this or claim that because overall, I just talk and so much so to the point to where a lot of people would probably say I like to hear myself talk. So I should have a podcast by now, but I'm not really going through all of that. I'm just kind of chilling and taking things, one day at a time. But yeah, so recently I've I went to go talk to an old friend. I hadn't spoke to them in a very long time. I wanted to see what they were doing, what they were up to, but more importantly, I wanted them to talk to me. I wanted to get something across to them, and I wanted to make sure that we were on like the same wavelength. I needed some advice from them, and so I came to talk to them. And something weird about them is they are one of those friends who like openly wants to hear about what's going on in your life and kind of just wants you to like spill everything to them, which I don't necessarily mind. I think it's cool that they want to like hear what I have to say. They want to be a part of whatever's going on in my life, even if it's like something very small. I think that it's really cool that you can have somebody like that, right? Even if they don't actually care what I have to say. I feel like just sitting around and actually listening to what I have to say is enough to make me feel like somebody is willing to hear me. And from what I've been hearing and seeing, a lot of people make videos where they vent or rant or whatever the case may be out to public because um, it's kind of like their way of having like their own personal journal or diary or therapy session. And sometimes their subscribers or followers will read it, react, and respond. And other times, silence. But hey, at least they got it out into the world, into the universe. They got it off their chest. They were able to say it, and it made them feel better. And I think a lot of people should look into doing something like that. If it helps you to, if it's helping you to, move on and get things out, then by all means do it. Because for all you know, you could actually be really great at doing like podcasts or whatever the case may be if you do it long enough and spend more time in it. And of course, the first thing you do isn't going to be great. It's probably going to be quiet, boring, awkward, poorly done. But hey, I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, right? So this isn't necessarily my start, but I guess it's more of a start than like what I was doing back then, because I would only drop a video maybe once every few weeks with little updates on whatever was going on in my life. So yeah, I went to talk to a friend. We got some back and forth through. We got to actually, the person I'm talking to help level up in a game is legitimately ridiculous. And everything they say, I kid you not, nearly everything they say ends up cracking me up. But the friend that I was talking to the other day, we just had a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of communication, and naturally, what ends up happening is I'll talk to them and, to an extent, overshare just because they want to hear whatever's going on in my life, and then they'll disappear. And there's like, I don't really take it as a necessarily negative thing. Everybody's busy, have their own things to handle in their own lives. I just tell them if they ever need to share or overshare, whatever the case may be, and they feel like nobody's hearing them, I'm here. Because there was a time where they were wanting to overshare with me, and I was there, but technically I was pushing them away because I thought that they needed their family more than they needed me. But that's for like a completely different story. I may never tell it. You never know. But yeah, as of late, things have just been overwhelming. Very heavy in pressure. I have picked up a few more responsibilities. I have been working to kind of change who I am and how I respond to things and handle things. And there's this one like area of my life that just has like this priority over everything else, and for some weird reason I can't seem to not like step on the gas. Does that make sense? Like I can't seem to get my bearings, to brace myself. It seems like whenever this one area of life comes up, that's when everything just goes like off the highway, and the car crashes and burns, and I hit a building's worth of like children, right? Like things are just bad, and it's only in that one area. Everything else, like I handle pretty great, Sometimes I'll be tired, but I'll push through it. I'll do this and I'll do that, but like that one area is just kicking my tail. And no matter what I do, it seems like um, I can't seem to get the result that it is that I want, right? I tell myself, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be different. I'm going to handle this in this way. I'm going to handle this in this light. I'm going to see this for this. And it just does not turn out to be that way. And just recently, there was something that I had to do earlier this week. And I had to tell somebody something. But the way that I was supposed to tell them was completely, like the way I ended up telling them was completely different than what it was in my head, right? I had this whole thing planned out where I would say this and I would say that and I would show this and map this out and do this and do that. Like it was supposed to be this super long conversation where it was just like back and forth, genuine communication and getting my points and ideas across to make sure that not only I'm being heard, but to also make sure that there is some kind of understanding for what it is that needs to be done. All right, but that was all in my head. In a sense, I was pre-planning it, overthinking it, getting ready. Right, and then just out of nowhere, when it came down to actually talk about whatever it was that I was having to talk about at that time, it was like garbage was just spilling out of my mouth. It was like everything I was saying had nothing to do with what was on my mind. It was like the moment I was faced with that portion of life, everything just went downhill. And I mean, you've probably seen it or heard about it in like movies or books or TV shows or videos or whatever the case may be, maybe video games. But it's like, man, I want to say SpongeBob had some scenes of it, but I can't remember the exact scenes. But it would be one of those things where it's like you're in the mind of the main character, and the main character is talking to like some crush or like their arch enemy or like their best friend or like their boss or something, right? And in their mind, they're thinking, okay, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this, and then they just say it, right? It's like their mind was specifically telling them not to say it and was actually coming up with an alternative way of getting this or that across. But them overall, nah, like they slipped and they said something else entirely different and it completely contradicts everything that came out of their mouth. And it's like, yo, why did I say that? You know? And that's basically what's just been eating at me for the longest is why did I say that? That's not what I wanted to say. Why did I say that? And that's something that I've been trying to handle and figure out because once I get that down, everything else should be a little bit easier to um, react to and work my way around and make sure that things are getting solved, right? So, yeah, that was just uh, something that I wanted to talk about and wanted to rant about, and maybe nobody will listen to it. Maybe way more people than I would ever expect to listen will listen to it. There's no telling, but yeah, this is just one of those things that I wanted to talk about. So I don't really know how to handle that. I have some books. Of course, I'm still talking to other people to try to get some better understanding of why watching videos and whatnot. And originally, this wasn't gonna be like what I actually centered the video around. I wanted to actually talk about the generation, one of the newer generations of people that are out on the earth right now, and their ideas with working and work-life balance and whatnot. Because I saw a video or a portion of a video earlier today that really made me think, hey, I want to get my two piece out about everything. But I just decided to cover this because, like I said, this has just been weighing on me for some time, and I don't necessarily know why it has been. So, yeah, it's whatever. This was my message. As always, eat my balls. Bye.